Hi, welcome to Sevilla Bodyworks YouTube channel and for tuning in for day 10. So, new series here. We did obliques for the last 3 videos and now we're going to do legs. So legs being anything from the hips down. So this first video is going to be a little bit more hip centric, and then the subsequent videos will be working a little bit differently on the legs. Let's get started. All right, so I'm going to have you start lying down on your backs, and we'll go into just the opening of the chest again, and then bringing those hands down and reaching them overhead and coming down. And just one more time, exhaling and then coming down. Okay, so starting with a few pelvic curls here. You're going to take a deep inhale. You're going to exhale, tuck your tailbone. So you tuck your tailbone, flattening that low back into the mat, and then gently bringing that tailbone back down. And we're going to do that a couple more times before we go into that full pelvic curl. Just kind of warming up that low back a little bit. And then we're going to exhale and we're going to peel the spine off the mat and come up into our curl, and then gently coming down. So I've mentioned this in the past that if this is your first one of the day, the spine can be a little sticky depending upon what you've been doing. It might feel like not very mobile, and that's okay. Just kind of take it slow. And then making sure that you're really peeling your spine off the mat, that you're pushing down into your feet, you're reaching your knees away. And then when you get to the highest position, whatever that is for you, your pubis bone, which is the base of your bottom of your pelvis, is higher than your ASIS bones, which is the top of the pelvis, and that's higher than the lower ribs, which is higher than the shoulders. So you end up looking like you're more in a ramp. Okay, so hold it there, reach your arms overhead. So when we reach them overhead, we're just going to our periphery, not all the way back. Especially my clients, I say it over and over again, don't relax your arms down. Rather reach, because you'll get more length and stretch through your body, and then gently roll yourself down bone by bone, feeling that traction, really having to use your legs and your glutes to work that traction into the body. Slide the hands behind the head, elbows in the periphery, exhale, curl yourself up, gazing down, reaching those arms forward. As we reach those arms forward, see if you can get a little bit up a little bit more by reaching that crown up, not the chin forward. Think up with the head. Gently bring the hands back down. Hopefully you didn't slide a whole bunch. And then curl back up. So going back into that pelvic curl, inhaling at the top. Reach those arms overhead. Exhale, gently come down. Slide the hands behind the head. Exhale and curl the head, neck, and chest up. Reach the arms forward, get a little bit taller. Bring the arms down first. Bring the head down. One more time. Exhale, curling up. Inhaling at the top, bringing the arms overhead. Gently coming down bone by bone. Sliding the hands behind the head. Exhale, curl up, hold, reach those arms forward. Okay, so let's slide those legs out one at a time and hold this position. And then let's just follow it all the way up for our roll up. And then gently come forward into the stretch and then coming back down. You might be saying right now, wow, we're doing a roll up, so I thought you said this was going to be legs. Don't worry, everything moves into the next exercise. And you do have to warm up your spine and your abdominals to work the legs. So it's not like this isn't just legs and no abs. That wouldn't be a class for Maria ever. So then you're going to roll all the way down, and then you're going to settle it down. So once you settle it down, I'm going to have you bend your right knee in. So the knee comes right up to tabletop. And then we're going to extend it up. Okay. So if you extend it up and then you're hiking your hip or you're rounding or something is pulling somewhere, then bring that leg further down, because this is what's really important here, is keeping the spine still and balanced and no tension in your shoulders and neck. So I'm gonna bring my leg up because I can do that. I'm gonna hold it here, I'm gonna make a little circle. So small little circles pulling from the leg. So I'm pulling the front of the leg, the quads, and my inner thighs around in this little circle. And I think I'm gonna do about five to six, and then I'm gonna reverse that circle. And the whole time I'm thinking about keeping everything fairly still. And then I'm gonna do one more and then hold it there. Then I'm gonna bend this knee. So I'm coming back to this tabletop position. I'm gonna externally rotate that knee and then come back to center and externally rotate and then back to center. This third one I'm gonna hold and then I'm gonna extend my leg up. So now I'm in external rotation here. I've extended all the way up. I'm gonna pulse my leg towards my body. I'm pulling from that inner thigh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then I'm gonna bend it back. I'm gonna bring it back to tabletop, right over. Put the foot down, slide it back out. Oof. And then the other side, bend the knee into tabletop, extend the leg up. Okay, so finding those oppositions. So this leg is pulling this way, this leg is pushing down. How do I pull this leg down? I use my glutes and my hamstring. So I'm using my posterior thigh to stabilize my right leg. My left leg is pulling from the quad and the inner thigh to circle around. Nice and controlled. And then there's different forms of circles. So I was kind of just circling like that, but you can stop at the top and really control it, which will be more intense. 4, 5, and 6. Bending the knee, externally rotate, come back to center, externally rotate and back to center, and then here we go, and extend it out. Pulse the leg in. Hold, bend, bring it back, bring the foot down, slide it all the way out. Ooh, that was delicious, yeah? Okay, so bring the arms overhead. Just a little transitional warm up here, or roll up here, why not? Because we can and we will. And then reach over and then gently rolling back down. Okay, so rolling back down, bring those hands down by your side. Bend the knees back in. Going back into our pelvic curls now. You didn't think I was gonna let you get away with just doing those first few. Now we're gonna curl it up now. And then inhale, exhale, come back down. And then just doing a couple more here. And especially after doing that hip work, it feels nice to kind of open everything up again. But we're gonna incorporate a couple of these things. So we're gonna come up into that pelvic curl. We're gonna hold it there, bringing the hands down by your side. And then we're gonna go into our marches. So that right leg comes to tabletop and then back down. And the left leg comes to tabletop and back down. And you wanna stay fairly high. So you don't wanna start dropping your bum as you're doing this. Just keep thinking about pushing your hips up to the ceiling. And then we're gonna pause and hold with the right leg at tabletop. We're gonna extend that leg to the ceiling. We're gonna point the leg going down and we're gonna flex and we're gonna pull up. Now, as I pull up, I have to think about bringing my foot, so the footprint to the ceiling. Like I'm trying to just skim the wall there, or the ceiling, not the wall. And then come up and hold. Now you're going to bend it back in and we're gonna externally rotate and then come back to center. Oh my gosh, we just did this, right? And then we're gonna externally rotate and we're gonna let that foot land on top of that knee. Really open this knee out. Try to maintain your pelvic position here. So your ASS are even, you're not dropping the side, you're just pushing both hips up. You're gonna roll yourself down for 1, rolling back up, rolling back down for 2, rolling back up, and then rolling back down for 3, and then rolling back up and holding it here. And then we're gonna extend the leg for 1, and then come back in, and 2, and 3, bring it back to tabletop, bring that foot down, push both those hips back up, because I lost a little bit of height there, so I want to get back up into it. Roll yourself down. You can thank me for that, because we could have just transitioned to the other side. And then exhale, rolling yourself back up. Now I'm back into this position. I'm gonna bring the other leg to tabletop. I'm gonna extend the leg. I'm gonna point down and I'm gonna flex up and point down and flex up. I think I'm doing about 6 to 7. And then I'm gonna bring it all the way up. I'm gonna hold, bend the knee back in, externally rotate, back to center, externally rotate, back to center, and then land. Now, once I land, I'm gonna just push that knee up. Let's see if we can get a little bit more hip lift. Rolling down for 1, coming back up, rolling down for 2, and coming back up. And then that third one, you know where it's going. Or maybe you don't remember and I still have to tell you. That's fine. We're gonna extend out and then we're gonna come back in and extend out and come back in and extend out, come back in, bring that back to tabletop, bring that foot down, lift those hips back up if we lost some height. Why don't we do 10 little glute squeezes here? Why not? Integrating both sides. I like to think of it as a booty massage. Just kind of doing this with my hands. I'm thinking like really squeezing and then gently coming all the way down. Ooh, hallelujah, yeah? Whew, okay, all right, so reaching those arms overhead, stretching those legs out. Oh, yeah, we're gonna roll up. Rolling up and then reaching over. Whew. And then coming back up. Okay, so now we're gonna sit tall for a moment. And what I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna bend your knees in. Okay, so transitioning into a little different position for the legs, I'm gonna have you curl back. So when we curl back, remember we're trying to tuck that tailbone and we're trying to reach the low back towards the floor, okay? When we're reaching the low back towards the floor, I wanna get into a C shape here. So I actually wanna scoop my abdominals in, okay? Now when I do that, I keep needing to lift up through here. I wanna feel that full breath. I'm gonna bring my left leg to tabletop. I'm gonna slide my right leg out. So depending upon where you are in your balance and your levers, you might need to roll back a little bit more. So we're just gonna lift this leg up and then we're gonna come back down. So it's a little bit of balance work here. Lift up and come back down and lift up. So I'm pulling the quad pulling the quad up, pulling into the hip, right? And then I'm gonna hold it here and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna roll ourselves back and we're gonna go straight into single leg stretch. Because like I said, I like to throw those abs in there. And then we're gonna bring that leg back out. So that right leg goes back out. I still have to be pulling up here. And I'm gonna roll myself up. Let's find that balance point again. Okay, then I can bring that leg down. I'm gonna sit myself up. I'm gonna slide that leg out. Okay, bending both knees back in. Taking your inhale, exhale, moving back into that curl. Now I'm gonna send the other leg out. I'm gonna pull this knee in, I'm gonna pop it up and hold. So balancing here and then lifting and lowering. Last one. Okay, using your abs, pull deeply into the low back to take yourself down, and then we'll move into single leg stretch again. And then what we'll do is we'll pause with that leg and then rolling yourself up, balance point here, bringing it down, bring that foot down, slide it out, sit tall. Okay, shake those legs out a little bit here. We're gonna bend those knees back in. Okay, sitting tall first. Open the knees out to the side. So here's our diamond. Longer diamond than short. So longer meaning from the feet to the pelvis is a little bit longer than from the knee to the knee. All right, so I'm gonna do something called giraffe stance, and I have these long arms. I guess I am kind of like a giraffe. And imagine, a giraffe going and taking a drink of water. They have to like spread their legs out to get their neck and head down. So you're gonna be really wide with your arms here. And sometimes I even feel like I need to get down onto my forearm. So kind of whatever works for you. And I'm gonna tuck my tail, I'm in this diamond position. So my belly scooped in, I'm in that C shape, and I'm gonna lift my right leg straight up. And I'm gonna come back down and then I'm gonna lift my left leg straight up. So when you're doing this, the opposite thigh has to push down, and I'm using the lateral aspect of the thigh. So I'm using my external rotators and this side, especially that bicep femoris, one of the hamstrings, really pushing down there and then lifting up, okay? So I have this little thing going, and then I'm really kind of feeling my abs here too because I'm in this curl. Okay, so then I'm gonna have you hold this, push down through your feet, tuck your tail. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if we can pop those legs up, okay? And then come back down. Oh, this is hard. I'm only gonna have you do 3 of them. It does come from the belly, but you have to keep pushing those legs back and then tucking your tail. 2, and then last one, 3. And then let's see if we can bring our arms forward and balance. Oh my goodness. Okay, bring those legs down, sit yourself up, and then slowly close those legs. Okay, we're gonna roll over onto my right side here, and I'm gonna go into this sideline chair position now. So chair position is feet straight out from the knees straight out from the hips, and the spine is just nice and straight. I'm gonna fold my hand. If you have a pillow, you can use a pillow here. Fold my hand underneath my head. And I wanna make sure I have that little space underneath my waist. We have to call it a little mouse house here. So I'm lifting up here and my trochanters are stacked. Trochanters are the widest part of your hips. So they're stacked right on top of each other. Okay, so I have to do some work to lift up here, and then my shoulders are stacked. It's really easy to get into kind of a slumped position here. You should feel like you're working to maintain this position a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna start with hydrant. So hydrant's just lifting that top leg up and down. Again, I'm using that outer thigh to lift. What I see a lot with clients is they put a lot of weight out in their lower limb. So it's like they're trying to lift their hip from their foot. Okay, so try to be as light as possible from the knee down, and then really think about this is what's pulling up here, not the foot. The foot follows what's happening with the thigh. Okay, I'm gonna have you do, I don't know, 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I'm gonna hold it up and then I'm gonna push it out. So when I push it out, I wanna line up with my hip here. And then to come back in, I wanna flex the hip and the knee, pulling back in to that hydrant position. So you can see when I come back, my feet are lined up again. So lots of times what I see people do is this. A lot of knee flexion, then heel to butt. We're not doing that. You're stretching the leg out, and then you're pulling your knee forward and pulling your hip back. Can you see that? So this is going forward here, the knee is pulling back, and then the knee starts to come forward and the hip starts to go back. So you get this nice kind of opposition and a kind of a circular motion through the upper thigh. So then we're gonna hold it out there, we're gonna hold it there. This bottom leg is gonna move now. So I'm gonna move it out and I'm gonna kick it up to the other leg, and then I'm gonna bend it back in. So you see that I'm giving myself a little bit of leverage here. Emphasis on little to bring that leg out and in. So this leg is holding and this inner thigh is pulling and reaching up towards that leg. And then I'm gonna hold it there. So now I'm completely stacked. So if you've been following my videos, you know what this is. We've been here before, and you're gonna drop and lift this leg up. So again, using those inner thighs to lift. Now this side is probably getting a little bit tired. Too bad, we're keeping it going here. 3, 2, 1. Now you can pull this back in and bring it down. I'm gonna have you send that leg forward. That's gonna feel really good. And then we'll swing it back, but only for 3. So here we go, forward. And then swinging it back. And I already lost count. 3, Maria. Okay, here we go, 3. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring it in front of me. Now you can bend your knee if you feel like I'm dying, which you probably are. And if you are one of the minority that isn't, here we go. We're gonna lift and lower here, just like this. And I'm really thinking about pulling my sits bone, so that's the butt bone, that way, and keeping my trochanters stacked. You could also be doing this pulsing here again. So I'm just lifting and lowering. And then I'm gonna bring it back in. I'm gonna bend and I'm gonna circle around. And then I'm gonna reverse the circle. And then I'm gonna pause. And I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna relax. Take a deep breath in and out. Whew. And now you're thinking, oh crap, we have to do the other side. All right, so I'm gonna push myself up and I'm gonna swing my legs around. All right, good times, right? Okay, so other side, here we go. Trochanters stacked. What are trochanters? Those are the widest part of our hips, that little bone that you feel right there. Those are right up on top of each other, so the knees are stacked and the feet are stacked. I have my little mouse house here, so waist here. So you might be saying, but I can't feel mine. Just keep thinking about lifting up, okay? So that's what you would want to be doing. All right, and then the trochanter stack, we're gonna lift and lower. And as we're lifting and lowering, I'm focusing on the thigh pulling up, not the foot. Foot just comes along. It's one big piece coming up and down. 3 more, 3, 2, 1. And then I get to reach it out nice and long and then pull it back in. So I want to make sure that foot comes right above the bottom, not back here towards my booty, right in front. Pull that knee forward, pull the hip back. And as I'm pulling the hip back, I'm also reaching my sits bone, bony part of the bottom, all the way to the wall there, keeping my mouse house lifted. I know a lot of things to think about. Seems like a little bit of a checklist. Sometimes I'll tell my clients, like, just try to focus on 2 things that you can really work on. And then last one, and then we're gonna bring it in. Okay, so sending it out, and that bottom leg is going to lift up and then come back in, and lift up and come back in. So a little bit of pushing down on that right hand. 2 more. And then last one, and hold it here. Bottom leg comes up and down. So if you hate being on your hips like this, pillow under it, it's totally fine. And then we'll come back in. Let's swing that leg forward and then pull it back. Oop, I'm running into those posters, swinging it forward and pulling it back, swinging it forward and holding, little pulses up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, bending that knee. Circles, here we go. And then reverse those circles. I think I'm counting to about 5, so 3, 4, and 5. And let's bring it down and rest. Oh, that feels so good. So I'm gonna have you pop up, and we're gonna do a few hip stretches. So I'm gonna come back around to this side. And if you, I do have a video, it's called Daily Hip Stretches. If you wanna just stop here, you can do that and then do that hip video if you want, or we can just kind of follow along. This will be a shorter version of that. So we're gonna roll ourselves down, and then we're gonna go into 2 different stretches. So figure 4. So figure 4 is, you can just start here. For those of you that have a little bit more flexibility, bringing up that opposite knee and pushing here like this. I see a lot of people kind of swivel their hips a lot. Try to maintain that balance between right and left sides here so that you're fairly neutral in your hip placement. So holding that there, stretching all this, you should feel really good. And then you can take that knee and then you can cross. So now this leg is going over, and you don't want to like grab and pull down here. You want to keep the shin bones sort of level and then just gently pull. If you don't, you have that flexibility, you can grab your ankles, you can just take your hands to your shins here. And then what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about pushing my tailbone down as my knees are kind of coming up. So I'm really feeling that opposition. Relax your shoulders, work on your breathing. And then I'm gonna just gently unwind, and we're gonna do the other side. And if you haven't watched that hip video, it's really good. I have some people that do that before they get out of bed. As you get older, you know, I think getting out of bed, sometimes you get up and your back feels stiff and your hips feel stiff. So sometimes doing these stretches in bed before you get up can be really helpful. So a little figure 4 and then crossing and then grabbing if you can, keeping the shins level, which is kind of hard because it's hard to tell where you are in space here. And then breathing in and out. Just releasing everything. And then gently unwinding. Okay, and then I just really, really love Happy Baby. So I like to incorporate that whenever I can. So Happy Baby can be a little hard, but if you just take your knees open first and then you just kind of let your thighs relax. You don't really want to pull them close into you. You just kind of want to feel that they're open and relaxed. And then you can slowly start to take the legs up to the ceiling. The lower legs, the thighs stay where they're at. And you could be here and that would be totally fine. If you are familiar with Happy Baby and you can, then you can take your hands to your feet or your ankles pulling down. And I just love the way this feels. And then just rocking back and forth. You know why they call it Happy Baby? Because this is how a baby, you know, is when they're getting their diapers changed. Hopefully they're happy. Depends on what's in the diaper, I guess. Okay, so just relaxing here and then let your tailbone drop a little bit. Take a deep breath in and out. And then let's close those legs. Oh, that feels so good. And then rolling up. Okay, so that's it for today. That's our legs, and we will have some more legs tomorrow. And I hope that you've been watching and enjoying. I've had a couple people text me and message me and tell me that they're loving these videos. I would say requests are great too. And if you can, please donate to the channel. It does help keep things going, especially in these tough times for all of us. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.